Good morning, Tribal Jazzman scholar. I wanted to comment on the riots in London. Michael Meade, mythologist, storyteller, mentor of youth, made the comment, if the fires that innately burn inside our youth are not intentionally added to the hearth of community, the youth will burn down the culture just to feel the warmth. We live in a time in which young people have very little connection to the adult world. There are not vertical relationships, there are horizontal relationships. Young people are initiating each other through ordeals of their own creation. Human beings have lived for 99% of their social history in small, nomadic, hunting and gathering tribes. Why is that significant? Well, in hunter-gatherer tribes, in our ancestry, 99% of our evolutionary ancestry, the adults would take the young boys and girls. The same gender elders would remove them from the home at some particular point around the ages of 11, 12, 13, and they would take them on a rite of passage, which involved very scary, dangerous ordeals. And the reason youth would be given those ordeals is that's part of the way they form identity. Around the age of transition to adulthood, when the body and the spirit, the mind begin to change, a young person needs to know that they have a hero identity, that they can make change and do something meaningful, and they need to be able to tell stories of their own courage. And so the ordeals are part of the way that they're able to begin to build personal narratives around heroism. Well, young people today are not given those opportunities. Instead, they look for same age or slightly older peers who seem to be edgy enough to give them those ordeals. They join gangs in a most extreme case, or burn down cities to express a kind of combination of rage, but also to generate stories of the police car they smashed, or the cops they ran from, or the tear gas they were able to avoid. And that becomes a whole ritualistic, transitional rite of passage that makes absolutely no sense to the adult world, but it's coming from this need in youth to be challenged, but also it comes from a sense of abandonment and betrayal by an adult world that gives them very little attention, and when they do get attention, it's often disrespectful. It's a very, very challenging time we live in. In 1949, Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, wrote a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces, and he said, after collecting stories from the world over, myths, analogies, fairy tales, he collected this amazing body of work that talked about the hero who goes out from their community, undergoes ordeals, is transformed, and then is welcomed back into the community as a transformed individual able to give back. And that story is told throughout the world because it's part of our collective psyche. It's part of our innate evolutionary psychology. It's a psychological mechanism, as the evolutionary psychologists would say. We are predisposed to want ordeals at the transition, and in historic times, representing that 99% of human history, the adults orchestrated those ordeals. Now, young people go out into the streets in their both feeling of disappointment and betrayal, and in their need for ordeals, and they burn the streets down. And our old folks, our elders, our wise, aged individuals who carry stories and wisdom are spending time playing Parcheesi and backgammon in retirement and nursing homes. That's the sad state of 21st century Earth. We adults need to challenge that paradigm. We need to reach out to young people and connect with them. Tribal Jazzman Scholar, thanks for joining me.